We have multiple Toronto Blue Jays updates to go over today as ahead of what's going to be a very interesting regular season. John Schneider has come out and revealed some very interesting information surrounding the Toronto Blue Jays regular season lineup. We're going to break that down and discuss some things that he said as it pertains to his plan, not only for the DH position, but a bunch of other things as well. We're going to break that down in this episode, as well as discuss some spring training updates and some comments from Max Scherzer. But before we get to that, folks, reminder, hit that subscribe button. If you're a part of the 71% who aren't subscribed to the channel, it's the place to be for daily Jays content. Your guys' support has been absolutely unbelievable, so thank you guys for that. But ladies and gentlemen, a lot to go over today. John Schneider came out and actually revealed some telling details as it pertains to what their plan is at the DH position, outfield, all these different things, as well as a couple other updates for spring training. Let's dive right into it here. So, as we know, the spring training, they've been experimenting with some lineups. We're seeing Aroldis Martinez play a lot. We're seeing some interesting positions, and you can't take too much into it. But John Schneider came out and was asked about what the lineup may look like as the regular season approaches. And he said that we should see later this week how the Jays lineup will unfold. They want to get some consistency in before the season. The leadoff spot is question one, but these lineups should move closer to normal here soon. And he also goes on to say, a few other things as well. Essentially, based on what we can infer from some of the other spring training lineups as well, they're going to be, and what we've heard from Buck Martinez, Dan Shulman, guys on, and even Keegan Matheson, who was on the videos last week, who's on the, at camp and at site. It seems that or a couple weeks ago, sorry, he was on the show. It seems like John Schneider is going to be really moving things around when it comes to specifically the DH position. Because you have Alejandro Kirk, you have Anthony Santander, you have Aroldis Martinez you can factor into play, even a guy like Alan Rodin, who, you assume will play in the field if he makes the team out of camp. But we're going to see now later this week, so it could be today, it could be over the next few games, how the actual lineup will unfold. And that's very, very big because we finally get to see some idea of what John Schneider has in store. We've been seeing games where Andres Gimenez hits one, Andres Gimenez hits two. Yesterday's game, he hit, deeper down in the lineup at 6, in a lineup that was more, filled with regulars aside from Stuart Baroa. So it's very interesting there, right? Because, and let me know down below and leave a comment actually what your projected lineup would be for the Toronto Blue Jays and how you think it would go. Because according to Fangraphs, they have this as the projected lineup for the Jays. Now, again, it is an interesting one. They also, have the projected stats, which is super intriguing as well. We can dive into that a bit. So it's Bichette, Vladdy, Anthony Santander, Springer, Varsho, Kirk, Jimenez, Clement, and Loperfido. Now, the reason for that is obviously we're at the point now where, Joey is going to have to start in center field. You have Dalton Varsho. There's a good chance that Dalton Varsho, and we have an update on him as well, makes the team out of, starts opening day because of his injury. I say make the team out of camp. Obviously, he's going to make the team out of camp. I'm more so saying it. He's going to break the opening day starting lineup and break the opening day starting roster. Ernie Clement, on the other hand, it's an interesting one, but when you look at the lineup, like 1 through 5 is very solid. Again, you have Dalton Varsho there penciled in as the DH right now with Joey as the starting center. I don't think that's going to be the case unless, again, the reason that Fangraphs has this is specifically because Dalton Varsho, there's a real chance that, yes, he's capable of hitting, but his arm still might be behind. So then you go for, of course, Joey Loperfido. And if you do have Joey Loperfido there, you're in a pretty interesting spot. And again, off the bench, you have Tyler Heineman, Will Wagner. I think there's a much better chance that Dalton Varsho starts the season at center field, and then you have Will Wagner starting as the DH. That would be my guess. But let me know down below and write down what your starting lineup and your projected lineup would be, because as you start to inch closer to the season, you have John Schneider come out and saying these things. We're going to start to see some lineups. Bichette at leadoff's interesting, and you definitely want to have Anthony Santander behind Vladdy, right? That's obvious. He has a projected WRC plus of 126, Vladdy at 152. The projections are very generous for a lot of these players, and it's because there is upside with this team. I've been saying it a lot here. Even the starting rotation, that's a bit more up and down. We've seen Bowden Francis struggle a lot in spring. Of course, Max Scherzer has been pitching very well. The bullpen looks elite, aside from Yaro Rodriguez, who's been struggling a little bit as well. Things are looking up for the Jays as it pertains to their starting lineup, and I'm very intrigued to see now that John Schneider has revealed that it's coming out this week, what it actually starts to look like and how close it is to the Fangraph projection. I don't know if they're going to rock Bichette as a leadoff hitter. It makes a ton of sense, especially if he can bring back some of what we've seen throughout his entire career, aside from last year, 2022, 2023, and beyond. Some of that on base and, leading the AL in hits. So let me know down below what your thoughts are on that. It's going to get very intriguing. And ultimately, I'm very excited to see what the actual lineup is because baseball's back, and that's the biggest thing, and a ton of different additions, as we know as well. And a couple other things surrounding their pitching plans, as well as some comments from Max Scherzer and how he's feeling as it pertains to the pitching plan. We know Scherzer and Francis pitched yesterday, so today we have José Berríos. Tuesday, no game. Wednesday, Gausman. Thursday, Bassett. Friday, Ariel. Saturday, Scherzer and Francis. So they're rocking the Scherzer and Francis combo here consistently. You'd have to assume that's going to be the 4 and 5 for the team. Right now, I'd probably pencil in Max Scherzer as the fourth starter. And come opening day, I'm hoping that's going to be the case as well. I think he just provides a little bit more upside than Bowden Francis, although Bowden Francis has been extremely good last year. So that's the pitching plans. We're going to start now. A lot of this is going to start to actually mean stuff because we're 3 weeks away from the regular season starting, a bit more than 3 weeks away. And as at the start of spring, you're kind of just throwing guys out there. At this point, as you look at the starting pitcher specifically, we're going to start to see the starting lineup come out, but also the starting pitching staff start to, level out. You'd assume José Berríos is going to be the opening day starter, followed by Gausman, Bassett, Scherzer, Francis, but it's still up in the air there, and we can start to make some inferences from these things. But one other thing before we wrap up, ladies and gentlemen, we know yesterday Trey Turner was messing with Max Scherzer on the first pitch. It was right down the middle, and he challenged it because Max Scherzer doesn't like the challenge system, but he came out and revealed some interesting information about how he's feeling. So he says he remains focused on the process early in spring training with the Jays. And he basically goes on to say within this article that he's feeling really solid. He's not worried about the actual, numbers per se. Like we're looking at velocity, all these different things. He's just looking about how he's feeling and his health. And he feels really, really good. The best he's felt in a while. And we know he came out and said that a little bit ago. And if he's feeling as good as he has been in a while, you can maybe pencil in Max Scherzer to be a little bit better than a lot of us may have thought. And if he can do that and really unlock that potential, I mean, I'm saying potential. He's 40 years old. He's one of the most accomplished pitchers we've ever seen in the history of baseball, especially over the last decade. And to see him now dominate, even if he can have a decent year for the Jays, like I mentioned in yesterday's video, things will be very good. So let me know down below what your thoughts are on that. He's not worried about the results. He's focused on the process. And man, is it working, because he is also mowing down spring training. But one other thing before we wrap up as well, tons of updates to go over today. There's also a difference in Dalton Varsho's stance, and this is something I'll probably dive into deeper in a future video, but you can see this here. One small difference between September 24 and spring 25 for Dalton Varsho. Last year, Varsho was seemingly starting his leg kick a hair or two earlier, and the front leg would hover for a moment before triggering his swing. So he's made adjustments, just like George Springer, and I covered in a video last week. George Springer's made some adjustments. His hands are a lot lower. Dalton Varsho now, we're seeing some different things with his leg kick. He had a home run yesterday. He had a home run in the game before. If you can unlock Dalton Varsho by some miracle to be an 800 OPS guy, his WAR will be through the roof, will be an MVP candidate. But I think realistically, if you can hope for a league average to above league average hitter, he's projected to have 102 WRC plus this season. If you can do that, he'll be a very good player if he can continue to pick up some of his, continue to do as good as he was defensively. Man, oh man, you could have a very good season for Varsho. The fact that he's coming out and making adjustments, you love to see that. We saw adjustments last year in his first year with the Jays throughout the regular season. But if you can actually have these adjustments and make them worthwhile and stick with them and then lead to results, sky's the limit for Dalton Varsho. Let me know down below what your thoughts are on this, ladies and gentlemen. A ton of reports coming out. We'll keep you up to date with all the latest news. Cheers.